to find the causal effect of a treatment, then you can perform an experiment to find this. And for example, this is the population, and these are individuals in the population. And what you do is that you take a random sample from the population, and then you assign some of these individuals to a treatment, and the others will then form the control group. And then you can look at the difference in your measure between the treatment and the control group. And this difference should be the effect of the treatment. Experiments are often difficult to come about in economics and finance because they are sometimes not possible and other times not economically viable. But it's really important to know about experiments because they are seen as the gold standard for estimating causal effects. Because if you are able to perform an experiment, then it's easier for you to find the causal effect of a change in an x variable on the y variable. So experiments can overcome threats to internal validity, which affect the biasedness of the causal effect, which is the slope, the beta, and the experiment can provide kind of a benchmark to which you can compare observational studies, and if these observational studies give about the same causal effect result as the experiment, then it's giving you a reason to put more weight on the results from the observational studies. Another reason why experiments are quite important to study is that they can be very influential. And they are influential because they give a solid estimate of the causal effect of a treatment. So, and these experiments are often discussed in the media, and they are often quite important for decision making in business. So it's important to understand the strengths and weaknesses of the experiment which you base your decision on. Experiments can also help us understand quasi-experiments. These quasi-experiments differ from true experiments in that from your sample, the treatment is not randomized. You are not randomly picking individuals or businesses for a treatment, but an external factor or an external event is making this choice for you. Running a business is often all about making the correct decisions. In this case, you can use experiments to, for example, perform an A/B testing. This is where you have two different products, for example, for the customers. So, for example, you have version A and you have version B. And from the population of all customers, you take a simple random sample and you kind of cut this randomly and assign the product A to one part of your customers and the product B to the other part of your customers in your simple random sample. And then you can look at the difference in, for example, profits between group A and group B. In order to understand the idea of experiment better, we can look at one example. And our question is a new drug effective in lowering cholesterol? So our Y variable is the cholesterol level, right? So first we get study participants. So we get a simple random sample, and then we collect data from this simple random sample, like our Y variable, the cholesterol level, but we also get other data like age and gender. These are helping us in explaining the cholesterol level. And these are the baseline data. And baseline means that we are measuring these variables before the treatment begins. So we have at least 2 time periods where we measure these data. So from the population, we get a simple random sample, and this is random. And from this simple random sample, we put some in the treatment group and others in the control the control group. Okay, so this is the third step, and this should also be random. And the participants, they take either the treatment or a placebo, because the individuals in the simple random sample should not know if they get the treatment or they are in the control group. And then the last step is to get the end line data. So for us, we should measure the cholesterol levels, the Y variable, at the end line, because this is what we asked in the first place. What is the effect on cholesterol levels of a certain treatment? After we have gone through all these 5 steps to get data from before the treatment and data from after the treatment in a randomized way, then we can use 2 approaches to analyze the data in order to find the slope on the treatment variable. And this slope on the treatment variable is the effect of the treatment on our Y variable. We can use 2 approaches to find this effect, and one is the differences estimator, and the second one is the difference estimator with additional regressors.